The churches with the least amount of fathers in them breed the highest level of criminals, statistically.
What role has the Black American church played in fatherlessness?
It's almost like a housing center now, kind of a breeding ground for fatherlessness. The more females in the church, the higher the molestation, the higher the rapes, the higher the gang violence. The churches with the least amount of fathers in them breed the highest level of criminals, statistically. Because I feel that one of the things that fathers create, and again, I'll probably bring it up when we talk about the role of a father, but one of the primary things that a father does is, everybody talks about provide, but the most important thing the father does is they protect. But the most crucial part of protection about a father is accountability. It doesn't matter if a father is 4'11". If he goes up to the school and asks some questions, it changes the environment. And the questions of a father is going to be different than the questions of a mother. So men, period, automatically bring accountability. When the Black church lost accountability, no church is worth anything without accountability. You got 77% of preachers admitted to having some sort of mental illness. 40% at this point admitted, modern preachers, to having something inappropriate with the parishioners in the church. I can go on numbers with American preachers right now that is just deplorable and sad, and a large part of that is because the fathers have left, the men have left. So I think the Black church is housed. You know, I meet with different leaders of churches, and I've asked the pastors at times, I'm like, hey, do y'all have an intake sheet when single mothers come in here, or single parents, where you sit before they join your church and you ask them, hey, I would like to do maybe a quick questionnaire with the child's parent, the other father, the one who's not here. And I tell them, if you do that, I guarantee you they won't join your church, because you'll start finding out how much decimation is happening to these children. It's so traumatic. If I'm 4 and I took me away from a parent, but let's say a father, and I feel so stripped and I'm seeing everybody hug you and clap for you, I don't feel like I can mention any of what I'm going through. It's just traumatic. So the Black church is notorious for having a lot of, especially in churches where, if there's a church that's 86% women or 82% women, statistically you can follow everything dark that comes after that in general. So the Black church has played a tremendous role in a lot of the pain in modern for families now.
Now, why do you think men are absent in Black churches or in leadership? Where are the men?
So one of the biggest issues is gender roles, right? So feminism has done a tremendous danger in terms of gender roles. Biblically, gender roles are very clear, right? And when I Google every other, Japan, Cambodia, Kenya, and I type in gender roles, they're clear. As soon as you Google it, they're clear. When you Google Black American families, it's sadly hilarious. The first paragraphs, they say they have no roles. No, it's not. It's almost all matriarchal. It's backwards. And so people say, why is it a problem to be fluid? Why not have roles? I'm like, would you want a basketball team on your fantasy team or football team where Shaq is the point guard and the coach is the center? Would you put money on them as your fantasy team to do well at something? Everybody says no, that's ridiculous. Everybody has a role. I said it's amazing in every area of life where there's success, everybody has a specific role. But when it comes to the family, we just do whatever we want. We have no order. And so we're wondering why our net worth is $3,000. Like in every area, we're the most deplorable financially. It's sad. We're just backwards and backwards and backwards. And so for a father that's designed to hold that accountable, when you don't have an environment where that can be done, you're leaving. So, and I think they said now, for the first time in history, almost 49% of children, for the first time, are not interested in joining the religion of Christianity, in the belief systems. Why? There's no roles here. It's not, why would I ever join a religion where you tore me away from a parent that I needed? I feel incredibly stripped. There's no real connection to God for me from all of this. the likelihood of me joining the faith is incredibly low at that point. So for the men, it's really no benefit.
So why don't men start their own churches then? Because what I don't understand on this argument that you mentioned, because I attend church, and the church that I attend is a heavily dominated male church. And even in our church, my pastor will not put women in leadership roles, which I agree with. But a lot of times, even in our heavily dominated male church, sometimes roles go unfilled because they can't find men.
Right.
So where are these men? How can you, because I find sometimes, especially with females taking over churches and feeling, they do it because there's no one else there to do it.
Well, I think it's self-inflicted, right? So you're talking about 5 decades of this stuff, right? And so when you got 5 decades of alienation, 5 decades of, the numbers are staggering, the amount of males that grew up and found out the story about their father was a lie. The numbers are unreal. So now you got 2 groups. You got men and you got males. Males are dangerous. You don't know what you're gonna get from the male. They didn't model a father. You can get anything from a male. That's not a developed man. He's not a developed man, especially if the father wasn't home and he lived with the mom. So human beings are designed to model. He has no idea what to model. The mother was in the father's role. Again, everything was backwards. And now he's got a beard and he's staying 6 foot tall and you think he's a man. That's not a man, that's a male. He's a feminine male. He grew up around a masculine female. So his mother was backwards. His life was his aunties were backwards. Everything is backwards. And now he's a male. That's not a man. So some basic things about males. There's nothing for them to borrow money from their wives. There's nothing for them to sit in the passenger seat. They know more how to be a female than a male. And so the church, because they grew up with Big Mama, and dad wasn't there, they grew up in church all their life, so they're used to church. So you see this joker coming in at 27 with a suit on, you think that's a man, and you ready to lead us? He has no idea what you're talking about. And so when 80% of us are born in broken homes, what do you think you're gonna get? So it's like a bloodbath, something spiritually weird, where you're looking at a sea of guys. I've been in ministry a long time. I led a lot of guys, and a lot of them are males. And it takes years for some of them to become men. So I think the reason why people that is so much damage done, and a lot of times the women don't take ownership. That's your son you did that to. You didn't let him see his father for 6 years. You didn't let him see it, and now you're mad at how he turned out? And now you're gonna say, going up there, you got a beard now, going up there and lead what? He don't even know where to draw from. So yeah, I think the churches now are not really have a lot of men in them. A lot of the churches have males in them, is my opinion.